Hello. The purpose of this tutorial is to assist you in inserting your own personal journal for the Grade 9 Challenge into your own personal page that can be found inside your Homerooms Google site. For this Grade 9 Challenge, there are 8 Google sites that are being created, one for each of the homerooms, and at present you should have been given direct access or direct links to each of these Google sites. Within your Homerooms Google site, you will find your name listed on the left-hand side, and your name is a direct link to your individual page. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to look at the Grade 9 Mr. Hopwood Google site, which is obviously my Homerooms Google site. All of the Google sites look exactly the same, and when you arrive at any of the 8 Google sites, you'll see that you will immediately land at a page called the 30-Day Challenge. And the 30-Day Challenge provides an exemplar of my personal journal for 30 days for a 30-day process where I learned German using Duolingo, and I actually still am at the moment. So first of all, you'll see that there's a journal, and inside that journal there is documentation of my events that happened over the 30 days, which include images or text. The images that I've gone and used have been taken from a program called Duolingo, which I used to help me learn German. And at the bottom of the journal you'll see there's an iMovie, and the iMovie is basically another documentation of my experiences over the 30 days in an iMovie format. So these are the two exemplars that all pages of the Google site should include. Okay, so every page should have a journal and an iMovie by the end of the process. Now, the purpose of this tutorial, as I said before, was to help you in inserting this journal page into your Google site. So for the purpose of for ease of purpose for this tutorial, I'm going to show you Nika's page. And if I click on Nika's page, you should see that Nika's page is basically an empty canvas. She doesn't have a journal there yet, and she doesn't have an iMovie. iMovies are going to be something that we'll worry about later on. So the first thing Nika has to do is she has to insert the journal into this Google site. Now, how does she do this? Okay, well, to start off with, I'm using the web browser Chrome, which is obviously a product of Google, so it means access is easier. So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to go and access Google Docs. To do this, you could have an apps tab here, which will give you access, but I'm just going to do it the slow way, and I'm just going to say Google Docs, or if I can spell it properly. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me access to a thing called Google Drive or Google Docs, which basically contains all files that I've gone and created and either have online or have shared online. So when you arrive at Google Docs, you'll see that you have your drive, and you'll also have the Shared With Me drive. Now, what you should find is when you go to the Shared With Me, that you find something called, or something should have been shared with you, that is called the Grade 9, so if I go to my drive, you should see that there's something called the Personal Journal Grade 9 Challenge Template. Now obviously this is in my drive because I've gone and created it. However, you should find that yours is shared with me, and you should find that that file is inside there. Now you can see that some people, like Robin for example, has gone and done this already and has decided to share that back with me. So I have a copy of his personal journal running in my Google Docs, but that's not important at the moment. So if I go to my drive, because I want access to this template, if I click this template, then what should happen is it's just a Word document. Okay. Now the problem is that if everybody started to write on this template, then it wouldn't make any sense, because all 140 odd students will be writing on one document. So the first thing we have to do is we have to go and save this, or we have to go and make a copy of this template. So if I go to, once I've opened it, if I go to File and I go to Make a Copy, I can then make a copy of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to call this Nika. It's Garvan. Okay. Now I don't want to share it with the same people. I'm just going to click OK. Now hopefully what should actually happen now is that there's a copy of this personal journal. Now if you wanted to, you could get rid of this. If I wanted to if I want to rename this, I want to rename it, right? I could just, it doesn't even have to be copy. It could just be personal journal grade 9 challenge. Okay, so we don't need copy enough. We'll just click OK. Then hopefully that should say that now. Okay, the thing I actually need to do now, before I do anything else with this, is I need to go to the share button. Because at the moment it's only privately shared with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it and I'm going to make it public on the web. So if I go to my private only and I go to change, I'm going to make it public on the web. Now the reason I'm going to make it public on the web and not for FIS.edu is that we're also using these Google Sites in Haiku, and it can become becomes a little awkward using FIS websites on Haiku. So it's easier, in my experience, it's easier if we make this public on the web. So if everybody makes theirs public on the web but can only be viewed, which means it can't be changed, then people should be able to see this okay quite easily. So now you should see this is being changed. So if I press done, that's okay. So if I then go out, I can go out of here, and I'm going to go out of here. If I go back to my drive, I should now be able to see that in my drive I have a personal journal grade 9 challenge Nika Garvan. Now obviously for you it's going to be your own individual name. I'm just using Nika Garvan just as an example. So if I now go back to Nika's Google site page, I want to put that document or that journal into this page. Now to be able to do this, Nika has access or has editing rights over her page. The beauty of all these Google site pages is that everybody has editing rights on their own page but only viewing rights on everybody else's. Because I'm the creator of all these pages, I get to edit everybody's. So if I go to I can edit Nika's page. Obviously I'm going to remove this afterwards. If I edit the page by clicking the drawing tool, you should now be able to see that the page is going to change slightly, and I can actually start to write text in there if I wanted to. I could also change Nika's name, or I could change the name. Please, please, please don't change the names. Okay? I've gone and spent hours putting everybody's name into each of the Google sites, so keep the names as they are. Don't change them, because then it's going to start messing up with the format, so leave it as it is. However, what Nika wants to do, or what we want to do, is we want to put the journal in. So I'm going to go up to this thing called Insert, and you should see that in Insert I can insert many different things. If I go to Drive, you should see that I can then go Documents, Drawing, Folders. I want to include a document, so I'm going to click on the document, and hopefully what should actually start to happen is I'm going to start to put in, and I think it's this one, hopefully. This is Nika's personal journal page. Now once you're inserting it, it's asking you to do a few things. First of all, it's asking you if you want to change the height. We're going to leave the height at 600, but the width we're going to change, well, we're going to make the width 750. Okay, we're going to include a border, and we're going to leave the title. So if I then click Save, this is what should happen. Now this tool at the top allows me to do a couple of things. What I like to do is I like to center it. Okay, and if I want to go back to changing the dimensions, if I go to Properties, I can go back to this and I can change dimensions if I want to, but you shouldn't have to. If you make a mess up, this cross here allows you to remove and you can start again. So now if I click Save, hopefully, the personal journal grade 9 challenge page for Nika has now been presented in her page. You can't write on the page in Google Site. You can only write on the page in your Google Documents, and you should see that there's a link that will take me to that, so that when I need to write, once Nika's done the 1st of March, for example, she can start writing in here, and then if I start writing in here, oh, I had a wonderful day, hopefully what should actually happen is if I go back to my thingy and I refresh it, please work, come on, work, go faster, there you go. Okay, what you write in the Google Docs now appears here. Okay, so this is now your personal journal, and as you go through the 30 days you keep on adding your experiences for those dates that are shown there and images or whatever, and this should now appear on to your Google site. Now there's one last thing I actually want to show you. If I then go, I'm now going to move out of this and I'm going to go into Haiku. And inside, I'm just going to get rid of this, sorry. Inside Haiku, under Grade 9 Challenge, you should see that there I've gone and embedded all of the Google sites into Haiku, which therefore means that everybody has easy viewing access between those pages. So if I go to Mr. Bubbs' page, for example, this is now Mr. Bubbs' 30-day challenge page, and as I mentioned before, each 30-day challenge page, each Grade 9 Google site page drops you at the 30-day challenge, and there's the list of students inside Mr. Bubbs' homeroom. Now if I go back to Mr. Hopwood, and here is the Google site, and this is again the 30-day challenge. If I now go to Nika's, hopefully Nika's personal journal is now viewable inside the Google site, which is viewable inside Haiku. So even though you have access, you have direct access to all of the Google sites, what I've gone and done to make viewing nice and easy is I've made viewability for all of the Google sites inside one location inside Haiku. Okay, what you now need to do is you now need to go and get into your homeroom's Google site, get to your page, and from Google Docs you need to load, or you need to insert your own personal journal for your Grade 9 challenge into your page. Cool. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.